Hey, this is me, Amrita Rao, and you're watching Bollywood Hungama. Do subscribe and hit the bell icon.
We have with us beautiful and vivacious Amrita Rao back with us on Bollywood Hungama. And we are so happy that she's having a movie, and it's a movie that everyone is talking about, Thackeray. She's playing Meena Tai Thackeray. Pleasure having you back on Bollywood Hungama.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for coming.
And it's my pleasure.
Right. And एक सवाल अभी मैं आया हूँ तो मुझसे कम से कम 10 लोग पूछ चुके हैं.
जी.
Is she the younger sister of Amrita Rao?
Oh my God.
How do you look the way you're looking right now? So
I think I just look the way I've always been looking because of the positivity around me, honestly. And by having a disciplined life, you know, not like today's youth, I think there's a lot of overindulgence in, you know, things that ultimately, I always say this, there's a very thin line in being coolish and being foolish. And I think a lot of people, in their attempt or zeal to be very cool, they end up being losers in the larger picture. They lose something that's, you know, very heavy. So I have always had a balanced approach to life. Nothing too much, and like a balanced approach actually. Even in my movies, like I've never said ki mujhe karna hi hai, do anything to be here and do this. I've always had that very practical, sorted, true to myself, and I think that's what reflects in the way people perceive me today.
Okay, so Meena Tai Thackeray was a very important figure as far as especially Maharashtra is concerned.
Yeah.
मुझे अभी एक चीज़ ध्यान में आ रही थी कि दैट जब उनका देहांत हुआ था, तो जिस तरीके से पूरा मुंबई बंद हो गया था, एंड द वे पीपल जस्ट केम ऑन स्ट्रीट्स एंड द वे दे शोड द रेवरेंस टुवर्ड्स हर, आई थिंक वो बहुत ही रेयरली देखा जाता है.
मुझे याद है एक्चुअली आई वाज वेरी यंग जब मीना ताई ठाकरे जी, यू नो, व्हेन द न्यूज़ केम दैट शी हैज़ पास्ड अवे. I was very young. I was in primary school, I remember, और school के intercom पे ये announcement हुआ था, and they declared that now we're closing the school and you guys can go home. So that was like my first memory, you know, and I'm sure there must be like so many other girls sitting with me in that classroom. I don't know if they remember that moment, but that moment, something clearly stayed with me. Maybe it was like being given a holiday suddenly, you know, like it's a big deal for a kid. So I remember that. And then of course मीना ताई जी का एक बहुत iconic पुतला है शिवाजी पार्क में, and I've grown up near शिवाजी पार्क. I've taken walks around her statue, and then one fine day coming there dressed as Meena Tai, standing with the statue in the media, and you know, like I'm playing her on Bal Thackre's biopic Thackeray. It was a very big deal. It was a very surreal moment for me.
Okay, so how you approach for the film?
How was I approached? Well, actually, I always say this, that I didn't find this film, or I didn't find the role of Meena Tai Thackeray. Meena Tai ji's role found me. The film found me. I mean, I had no clue that Thackeray is being made, nor that Nawaz ji is being casted. One fine day, I just got a call from Sanjay Raut's office. They said that director Abhijit Panse and Rohan Mapuskar will meet you. And I was given a narration, and the good part was that Abhijit sir, he just closed the script like that. And even before I could give my, you know, whatever my conviction was towards the script, he said, we are just taking it for granted that you are our Meena Tai and you are a part of the film, and welcome to the family. So then I was like, you know, this is very rare confidence that somebody invests in an actor. So I was like, thank you so much. Then I will definitely do this film.
Okay. So as you're talking right now, so अभी बहुत से reviews आपने भी पढ़े भी नहीं होंगे because press show भी सुबह हुआ है, gradually they're coming in. But the reviews are extremely positive.
Okay.
And in terms of it's a well-made film. मैंने film देखी है.
हाँ.
And so I think बहुत सी चीज़ें important होती हैं किसी भी film को properly judge करने के लिए, अगर आप उसको एक ऑब्जेक्टिवली जितना अगर कोशिश करें देखने की, उतना आप उसको बेहतर तरीके से जज कर सकते हैं. एंड सब वो ब्लैक एंड वाइट का पूरा जो एक उसमें लिया है, एलिमेंट लिया है, और इवन द वे द स्टोरी मूव्स फॉरवर्ड, राइटिंग बहुत इंप्रेसिव है, डायलॉग्स बहुत इंप्रेसिव है. पर्सनली मुझे जो बहुत आपके किरदार के लिए जो बहुत इंप्रेसिव चीज़ लगी कि जो आपके साइलेंसेज हैं, कि दोज आर वेरी स्टोइक साइलेंसेज. शी इज़ नॉट पासिंग जजमेंट्स on him. She's just letting him be and being a stoic support. So how did you internalize that Because it's very subtle, you know. You can only feel it.
Well, I think for me, because I didn't have an audio-visual reference point for Meena ji, the only thing I could do in my approach to the character was to get to know the character's psyche, you know, how she was and how her temperament and how she took this whole thing of being Balasaheb Thackeray's wife, who suddenly opened the doors of Shri for the people of the state. And it truly is not a joke, you know. I mean, I think all the responsibility comes on the shoulders of the woman of the house, you know. And I think if the woman is not in support, or if she decides कि ये जो हो रहा है अभी इसको बंद कर दो, और इसमें family life खराब हो जाएगी, or there is any slight demotivation from the woman of the house, it will never be the same. You know, so when people unanimously told me, even Sanjay Raut sir and the director Abhijit Pandse, when they said that Ma Sahib was so much in support, and recently I met Rashmi Thackeray ji's mother, you know, and she was so emotional. Like when she came out of the screening, she had moistness in her eyes, and the way she looked at me, you know, it was like she was trying to relive Ma Sahib, you know, and that was like my biggest takeaway, because she said that Ma Sahib was, she was like, how could you just get the sur of Ma Sahib without even watching, like knowing her or seeing her, because she was so supportive. और जितने भी लोग कभी भी मातोश्री में आए, किसी भी वक्त आए, Ma Sahib would ensure personally कि उनको खाना पीना सब मिले. And you know, that whole, it's a very giving nature. You can't create that all the time. So I think because she was true to what she was, which was a very giving and a sacrificing woman, Meena Tai Thackeray ji has carved her own space and respect and love in the hearts of many people, and that is so wonderful.
Okay, so there's this one particular scene where she receives the letter from Mr. Thackeray, and I think it's very superbly done. There's a lot of subtlety in that. There's a lot of nuance in that. एंड जो आपके चेहरे के एक्सप्रेशन जिस तरीके के आपके चेंज होते हैं, आपकी जो बॉडी लैंग्वेज फिजिटी हो जाती है, दैट्स वंडरफुली डन. इट्स लाइक अ सीजन्ड परफॉर्मर. वी एवरीवन नोज दैट Amrita Rao is a wonderful actress. If you can just recall that particular scene.
Well, yeah, that is of course one of my favorite moments as an actor, because not because it was an emotional scene. See, I have done many emotional scenes in many films, but I like the way the director conceived that scene, you know, and the way he directed, literally, because that scene starts from the point that I get the letter, and then I enter the house and I enter the kitchen, and there's this domestic help, and I tell her to "Aap bahar jao," and I go inside, and then I tear the letter, and the camera is on a trolley and it's coming close to me, and then I tear the letter and I read it, and then there is this emotional built up and built up and built up, which leads to the high, and you know, like she has tears in her eyes and she's feeling every emotion that's written in the letter. So not many directors conceive a scene like that, you know, that's truly challenging your actor कि मैं edit नहीं करने वाला हूँ, I'm not going to cut to the letter shot and then come to you, so you have time to put the glycerine, or and not many directors realize that, you know, the challenge for an actor is to bring that eyes welling up in a running shot.
Wow.
Many people just cut it, you know, like I did TV. I debuted in a finite series in TV, and TV people, I felt that, you know, they don't give importance to, like, sometimes such nuances that actors give so much emotion to, and that scene is special. और वो scene मुझे actually दो तीन बार करना पड़ा, because पहली बार trolley का focus गया, and I prefer as an actor, you know, to get my emotional scenes like in the first take, because it's a lot and you can't cry and then like go dry again and come and cry again. So I prefer to do it, but वो trolley का focus गया, फिर और कुछ हुआ, and then I was like, oh my god. But Abhijit sir really helped me. He was like, you know, just forget all of this, and I'm sorry that kuch technical error hua, and that always happens, like that you have to be prepared that you can't let all these things bother that moment, because that moment is going to be eternal on screen.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. All right. And did you have any apprehensions, considering that it is a controversial subject as well? Even when the promo came out, there were polarized views. Some absolutely loved it, and some had certain reservations.
See, you know, the way I looked at it is that Balasaheb ji was a controversial personality. you know. It was like, you know, like you can hate him, you can like him, but you can't miss him. He always had that stance. And that's why in Maharashtra, okay, so most importantly, what I'd like to convey, and this is my reading of the whole thing, is that the film shows what happened in that 60s, and you know, when the Marathi Manus was given a secondary preference when it came to job opportunities over a South Indian or a Gujarati. So at that time, perhaps that issue was really relevant. And because it was relevant and so many people were starved and they were feeling the pinch of it, when Balasaheb rose that, it got it caught fire. The moment really caught fire, you know. Maybe that doesn't have any relevance today. With time, relevance of the same thing changes completely. Sure. So we are not trying to propagate that theory in today's times. We are showing the film as it was because it's all documented in history. And nowhere in the film we are trying to sugar candy an image for Balasaheb, which people are loving, you know. He is controversial. You can see he was, as the man was. And he was loved, revered, respected. Some people want to see the film because they were the beneficiaries of his vision. Some people want to see the film because they were curious. They are curious to know the ideology of the man. So it's Balasaheb Thackeray, and you know, his legacy will always continue.
All right. Now, one question that I think almost everyone will be having for you is, you're such a fine actress. You've done some really big films. Yeah. Some of your characters, be it Viva or be it Main Hoon Na, be it Sajjanpur. So they are so ishwish. Yeah. They're so fresh in the minds of people. But why is it that we haven't been seeing too much of you?
Okay, so very honestly, you know, like when I started the film industry, I was blessed with no godfathers, with no sugar daddies to pick up the phone on you and, you know, make sure that you're at the right place at the right time, on the right covers and getting the right awards. And I mean, all that is fine, and it happens. But I think I was destiny's child, that nobody can sit and plan like Ishq Vishq, Silver Jubilee, Main Hoon Na, Silver Jubilee, Masti, Silver Jubilee, 25 weeks, Viva, you know. Nobody can plan that for you. So it happened to me, and I found my place in the industry. And from the very beginning, I was very particular that, you know, I was very particular about the films I do, the projects I'm a part of. I knew that I can't carry the films on my shoulders. So I was like, either the producer has to be strong, or the director has to be strong enough, or the co-actor has to be strong enough. I always saw that जब मैं film select करूँगी, one of these factors have to be very strong to carry the entire weight of the project. And it will not be the heroine, because those times were also different, you know. Like now we see heroines getting their dues and people wanting to watch a heroine protagonist film. So having said that, you know, like there came a time when, of course, the generation is changing and cinema is a slice of life. So the generation wants to see on screen what's happening in reality. And they are so physically comfortable with each other, you know, they have no problem being intimate with each other. And of course, there were so many that, you know, the big offers continued. I also got an opportunity to be an in-house actress with one of the topmost production houses of India. And it was an artist. It was not just about like one role or one film. It was like an in-house artist. But I think I had to sit and make a choice, because people in the industry are very professional. Nobody wants to surprise you on the set and say कि, you know, अभी एक kissing scene है और एक intimate scene है, आप कर लो. You're always told in advance कि this is the requirement. If you're part of the whole deal, then, you know, you have to surrender in good faith. Everything will be like, nobody's, I mean, obviously, it's not cheap or vulgar. It's just the way reality is, you know, like you're so comfortable being intimate with your partner on screen. So I had to sit and make a choice whether I want to do this. Having said that, I knew I would be compromising on my comfort zone, because it's a very personal thing, you know. So I decided to gracefully decline those offers, and I think those directors also were, I think the bigger you are, the more graceful you are. So it's people in the industry who say कि ओ अगर आप इनको मना करेंगे तो वो आपको boycott कर देंगे. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. They respected me. They respect my decision. I'm in touch with them even now. And yeah, I think you have to stay true to your comfort. That's something I've always followed.
All right, so in a way you're saying that certain roles came your way and you're not comfortable. Maybe
lot of them.
You did Masti maybe because, but I think Masti you were extremely dignified in that, so there was nothing.
Masti was a different film, you know. Then after that, of course, there were sequels of Masti. Times were changing, and I have refused like a lot of films because I was not comfortable in that space. Yeah, I mean. I'm like very proud of my choices.
No problem.
You know,
okay, so there is this entire debate about around this the fact that the outsiders they have a difficult time because say if you are an industry kid, you're far more protected. The sort of offers that come your way are totally in a way there are checks and balances on that, and that they're approached only when someone has vetted those scripts and. Maybe outsiders don't have that privilege in a way as well.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you face something of that as well?
I think, you know, like when I entered the industry, times were very different. There was no Instagram. Today you can, you know, like you can actually, people can give their opinion so easily. Like, oh, this film is a hit, we want to see this film, and we don't want to see this film because of this reason, or this actor because of this reason. I think those times were very different, and I always wished when I entered the industry, I always wished कि काश मुझे कोई you know experienced actress मिले जो मुझे सलाह दे कि ये करना है, ये नहीं करना है, अगर projects को avoid भी करना है तो कैसे करना है, what is the, because when you're very young ना, when like you're in your teens, you are very outspoken, you don't like look at कि इसके बाद ये हो सकता है, you know, ये politics हो सकता है. You're very outspoken and you're like, you know, free spirited. So I won't say I made any mistakes, but I always wish that I had like some godfatherly figure who would at least guide me. But I had to find my way all by myself, you know, like whether it was, I mean, you make mistakes, you learn, it's different. It's definitely different for outsiders.
All right. Yeah. So now, what is the now since you have understood the entire game?
Yeah.
And, so
no, I've like just grown up.
Right.
Carving my own niche.
Right,
yeah.
And considering that you are looking like 21, 22 right now, so what is your game plan from here on? Because you know, I'll give you one example.
Okay.
There have been so many examples that so many big actors, be it Bachchan Saab. I think Bachchan Saab took around 10 years maybe to just really find his niche in the industry. Because maybe even he would have never known that he could have done like An Angry Young Man.
Of course.
And there are so many other examples that actors who have really found themselves maybe after several years. So
I think the best
part... Today is a different ballgame.
Yes, actually, times have changed so much. In fact, when I debuted on TV, like in 2016, I think I was the only actress of my generation who really wanted to do television. Because there was no OTT platforms and there was no Netflix. And from 2014 onwards, there were big channels who were approaching Bollywood actors because they also wanted to explore intelligent content on TV. Okay, but unfortunately in India, our TV reaches such rural zones and their palette is so different that we have to come around to that whole, you know, that whole domestic, what do you call that? Ghar ke dynamics and all that. Matlab, saas, bahu. It somehow summarizes to that same family dynamics on TV. They don't want to explore intelligent content. But now, of course, because of Netflix and other platforms, there is a lot of hope, there's a lot of unrestricted content, there is a lot of opinions from people, you know, about what they want to see and what they don't want to see. And people like even Anurag Kashyap, you know, they're not restricted by producers and even like in terms of their finance कि आप इतने ये actors के साथ काम करोगे तो ही हम आपके project को finance करेंगे. Like they are ruling the OTT platforms because they know that content is the king right now. So I think it's a great time for actors and yeah, you know, I'm really looking forward to this phase.
Great. Okay, and what about turning a producer maybe?
Not
You understand,
really.
you understand the medium.
I do understand the medium, but I don't want to do something that I'm not wholesomely inclined towards. Production is a completely different game. For an actor, everything is so easy, you know, like when I remember जब हम ये scene कर रहे थे, एक beach का sequence
बहुत
है.
अच्छा है, मैं इनफैक्ट मैंने कहा नहीं उसको, बहुत अच्छा सीक्वेंस है. बच्चे को जब जाते हैं वो करने के लिए बहुत अच्छा सीक्वेंस.
कि मीना ताई जी और बाला साहेब जी बीच पे बैठे हैं, तो मुझे याद है when I was approaching the set, there were so many people and so much of production people I could see, and I was like thinking to myself, you know, that for actors it's relatively so easy. We just have to go take our place and do our job. But इसके पीछे जितने लोग धूप में भाग दौड़ गए वो setting up, so it's a lot of teamwork, yeah. So no production for me for sure. I would rather focus on acting.
Great. All right, so fan questions with Amrita. So there's no name, I am Sharwak, SHIRWAC. How's the experience working with King of Bollywood, SRK in Main Na?
Well, Mr. Shah Rukh Khan, what I like about him is he comes so prepared, and you know, like his dialogues and everything, like he completely comes prepared on the set. It was wonderful working with Shah Rukh Khan, and I saw the same quality in Nawaz. He also comes absolutely prepared on the set. You know, वैनिटी में काफ़ी एक्टर्स है जो वैनिटी में बहुत टाइम पास करते हैं, फिर सेट पे और टाइम पास हो जाता है. तो ये दो एक्टर्स में ये चीज़ सिमिलर है. एंड मिस्टर खान, ही बिलीव्स इन दैट द फर्स्ट टेक शुड बी द टेक. यू नो, it's you, like I'm sure over the years then you get that comfort कि हाँ take 2 है ना, but that whole zeal of, you know, पहले take में ही that will be the final take, that is something that it has stayed, that quality with me.
Preeti Malhotra from Mumbai, why isn't she working in web series?
Hi Preeti, yes, web series is definitely something I would love to explore, because when I did TV in 2016 in Meri Awaaz Hi Pehchan Hai, that's the first time I actually felt that these mediums, which are not only restricted to 2 hours 15 minutes, they actually give an actor more time to dwell into the character, you know, literally so much, and explore like finer nuances. और मुझे याद है कि जब ये सीरीज़ ख़त्म हुआ था 7 months के बाद, just to get out of that character, I just cried for 15 minutes. So it's a very new experience, and I would definitely like to, now that the OTT platforms are up, I would love to explore web series, of course.
This is Nitin Rathore from Aurangabad. You said somewhere that Farah praised your look for Thackeray. Will we see you working with her again?
Hi Nitin, yes, I remember जब मीना ताई ठाकरे जी का पहला लुक रिवील हुआ था फ्रंट पेज पे, so I opened my eyes in the morning and the first message was from Farah Khan, और उन्होंने मुझे snapshot भेजा था, and she said how beautiful are you. I can't forget those words, because Farah is an actor जो पहले vanity में घुस के ना, she'll first look at the heroine, and you know, like I remember मैं ना में she used to like cut my cut glove sleeves, and she's so particular about how the actor looks. So when she complimented that role, I was like, wow, 10 on 10.
Okay, this is Mona. Many love greetings, send please.
Many?
She's sending many love greetings for you.
Oh, thank you, Mona. Thank you so much.
Okay, this is Mohit Sharma from Gangtok, Sikkim. Which co-actor you want to act opposite in the next film, or you want to play a lead role in a woman-centric film?
Which co-actor I want to work opposite? Maybe Ayushmann Khurrana, because I like him as an actor. Yeah.
Okay, and would you like to do a lead role in a woman-centric film? That's what.
Why not? You know, I would always like to do a woman-centric film, but I've been particular about the subjects. So if the subject suits me, I would definitely do it.
This is Rishabh Sharma from Bhilai, Chhattisgarh. What are the qualities that you admire about Nawazuddin Siddiqui sir as an actor?
What I like about Nawazuddin the most is that his ability to turn a very simple scene on paper into something memorable and extraordinary. You know, for example, मैंने recently Munna Michael देखी, like a portion of it, and because I'm working with Nawaz, I made sure I sit through and see that. और वो there was like a very simple scene on paper. I can imagine it would be like, you know, अच्छा फिर अब पंकज त्रिपाठी भागते हैं, आप गन लेके उनकी पीछा करते हैं, फिर वो निकल जाते हैं और आप फिर गन फेंक के आप रोते हैं टाइगर श्रॉफ के पास कि मुझे वो लड़की चाहिए, और इतना सिंपल होगा, बट जो आवाज़ में वो एक खींच और वो एक भागने की थकान, और you know that the way he did it made all the difference. I was like, my God, you know, like every time he brings something new, so that is the ability I like, changing something simple into.
Yeah, he brings in something extra actually.
Yeah.
Nitin Rathore from Aurangabad, once again, if offered a biopic, which personality would you love to portray on big screen?
Madhubala.
Wow.
Always, you know, I mean, of course, मेरा ये जो ख्वाब है अपने आप को ब्लैक एंड वाइट पर्दे पर देखने का, वो एक तरह से ठाकरे में पूरा हुआ
जी,
क्योंकि ऑलमोस्ट आधी फिल्म ब्लैक एंड वाइट है, आधी से ज़्यादा. I mean, I'm so lucky, but I would love to, if there is, I've been a huge Madhubala fan, and ever if there is a biopic on Madhubala, it's me.
Okay, this is Shams Tabriz from Patna. Was the role in this movie was challenging, and what did she gain from this movie?
Well, I think what I gained, of course, the role was challenging because there was no reference for me.
Ji.
You know, everybody knows how Bal Thackeray speaks and about his personality, but I had to only imagine of how Meena Tai would be as a person. So it was challenging, and I think my takeaway from the film is the compliment that I got from the Thackeray family, because they know Meena Tai. They have lived, the people who lived closely with her, like at the premiere, I met Rashmi ji's parents, I met her mama, mami, and like a whole family. And the look in their eyes when they saw me, and especially Rashmi ji's mom, that glint, and she couldn't stop staring at me. So that was my like true takeaway from this film.
Okay, and this is Rakesh from Vizag. You have been a public, famous person for a while now. What changed that time within you, and what have you really learned over the years that definitely left its marks and will influence you for all the things to come?
Yes, I have been a public figure, and I have learned, I mean, I think I've seen it all. I've seen success, I've seen silver jubilees. In fact, कहा जाता है कि विवाह जो है बॉलीवुड की लास्ट सिल्वर जुबली फिल्म है. So I've like gone down in history with that too. And I've seen everything. I've seen awards, I've seen being M.F. Hussain's muse, I've seen people watching my films repeatedly on TV and loving me. So I think, but with all of that, one thing that I want to tell everyone on this medium, because everybody, you know, watches Faridoon, watches Bollywood Hungama, and this is a very inspirational, aspirational platform. So I would like to tell everyone that, you know, look at your life as life, not with blinkers on, and don't live your life. If I had lived my life in a way that people want to see of me, my life would have been very different. Because, you know, only the wearer knows where the shoe pinches. You should always be confident about yourself. Stick to your comfort zone. Give yourself more importance than the opportunities. Because with time, opportunities change, people change, attitudes change, but what remains with you is you, yourself. You know, so just be true to yourself, respect your body, respect your mind, and the people around you. Yeah.
Okay, you know, you spoke about M.F. Hussain. You've done a movie like Thackeray, and it's important that people look at it in the spirit that the movie was made, and the spirit, the way the man was.
Yeah.
So Mr. Hussain did not have a happy ending in terms of that he was not around in his own country.
Yes.
And the way things happened, do you feel sad for him? He's one of the finest artists that we've had in the world.
So I have been Mr. M.F. Hussein's muse, and I've been, you know, like I've had a slice of his personal opinions and lives, and he was very fond of films, he was very fond of cinema, and he loved, you know, he loved India and Pandharpur where he was born. So I remember, like, whenever he used to come and drop me to the airport, he used to always, you know, say that I love my country, and I'm so happy that, you know, you're going to Mumbai, and I have memories of that place. So yeah, he used to love. He used to call me, and he used to watch all the Bollywood films, and yeah.
Okay, Rakesh from Vizag once again. How do you choose the scripts to play? Do you have any rules, or it's something impulsive?
So when I'm choosing scripts as an actor, I of course look at the script on the whole.
Ji.
Okay, not just what I am doing. That is also very important, but I look at the script on the whole, and I look at the audience. The protagonist has to have a journey. The audience has to fall in love with the protagonist. They should be in a position to reason out why this person is doing this or that, and his victory ultimately should be the audience's victory. There are some basic script analogies, and that is, I've always considered that. And then there is this first instinct reaction. Like when I heard the narration of Jolly LLB, I was like, I have to do this film because it is one of the narrations that has stood out of so many narrations. I could clearly see that. Perhaps that was experience. I didn't know that the film is going to be the National Award Best Film of the Year, but it was just experience and going through so many narrations that it stood out, and I was like, wow, I have to be a part of this film. So yeah, there are certain things I do balance.
Okay, last question. This is Nitin Rathod from Aurangabad once again. Did you learn Marathi for Thackeray?
Hi Nitin, I didn't have to learn Marathi because I'm born and brought up in Maharashtra, Mumbai. Marathi was compulsory in school, and I do speak the language. Of course, it's a little bit tricky for me at times because my mother tongue is Konkani, and Konkani and Marathi are very similar. We've grabbed a lot of words from Marathi into Konkani. So I get confused with the grammar and the pronunciation sometimes. So I had to work on my Marathi a little bit, more than Nawaz.
And whatever we heard in the Hindi version, so I think it comes across very naturally.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm very proud that I've dubbed for the Marathi version. In the Marathi, I've dubbed it myself.
It's your voice, yeah.
Yeah, and it's my debut in Marathi cinema, so I'm very excited.
Great. Alright, so rapid fire with Amrita Rao. If you can please answer the following questions very rapidly and briefly. One legendary leader you wish you were able to meet.
Bhagat Singh.
A recent film you wish you had acted in.
Pink.
An advice that you would offer to your 16-year-old self.
That I am 16 and never ask a woman her age and a man his wage.
Okay, how do you react to criticism?
With an open mind.
What does it mean to be a woman today?
A lot more freedom.
What's your favorite word or phrase in Marathi?
I think they say Durun, Dongar, Sajre or Sajra, something like that in Marathi, which means कि दूर से जो दिखता है ना mountain बहुत खूबसूरत लगता है. जब आप पास चलते हो ना और उसको चढ़ने की कोशिश करते हो तो आपको reality समझ में आती है. So that is like my favorite.
Okay, what's the best gift you have ever received?
The best gift I have ever received, it was a collage of all the special moments that I and my soulmate, life partner have shared. That collage was made, it was almost imagined क्योंकि photographs नहीं थे तब, तो वो बैठ के animation करके उसका collage बना के मुझे present किया गया था. So that was truly special.
One fashion rule you completely disagree with?
Fashion rule that I completely disagree with. I think fashion needs to be customized. So trying to wear something because it's in fashion is something I disagree with.
Biggest fashion faux pas that you ever had?
I think it's always been sometimes in the past with my hair, like I've had hairstylists experiment with my hairdo and it has not suited me. And trust me, like this is like the ultimate piece of advice. The mirror will never lie. If you think, am I or am I not? Am I feeling it? Am I looking good? Then you're not looking good. When you look good, the mirror tells you you're looking good.
Wow. 3 words that will define your style statement.
Comfort, customizing fashion, that's according to your comfort, and being confident.
3 words that will define Nawazuddin.
Natural, Down to earth, experimental.
Which celebrity would you rate as perfect 10?
I would rate Nawazuddin as perfect 10.
You have to be very quick while answering these questions. Okay. If you were a dessert, what would you be?
Ice candy.
If you could date a man from the bygone times, who would he be?
Kishore Kumar.
If you could make a biopic on a yesteryear actor or actress, who would it be?
Madhubala.
Madhubala, you've said. If you could change one thing about our country, what would it be?
Garbage, like open garbage. Yeah.
If you win a big lottery, what will you do?
Maybe prioritize it and do some donation. Yeah.
If you were given a really hideous outfit to wear on a film set,
I would, I would maybe go to my director and say, please, I think I'm not comfortable wearing this.
if you were not an actor or actress, what other profession you would have been in?
Marketing and advertising, for sure.
If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
50s, the
1950s.
golden era of Bollywood, black and white cinema.
What is your take on comeback films?
ये मैं एक sentence या एक word में नहीं बोल सकती. I think the definition of comeback needs to be really, really defined so that people stop misusing it. Like, it can't be a comeback every time you're doing a film again. It can't be a comeback.
Critics.
Critics, good if they don't get personal with their opinions.
Biopics.
Very, very difficult to execute only in 2.5 hours.
Politics.
Politics is political.
Family dramas.
Family dramas, good. Suraj Barjatia.
Web series.
Anurag Kashyap.
Digital medium.
Rocking and here to stay.
True or false? Following statements, true or false. It irritates you when people say that Thackeray is your comeback film.
Yes, it does.
True.
True.
Biopics are not always true to facts.
Not in case of Thackeray. False.
I'm saying general.
Okay, biopics are
Not always true to facts.
true.
Political films are generally made with an underlying agenda.
False.
You refuse many films because they were too bold for your comfort.
True.
Nawazuddin Siddiqui is one of the finest actors that we have today.
True to the E.
Okay? If you can choose between ye ya wo, basically ye ya wo,
Haan.
either or if you have to choose one.
Haan.
Money or good looks?
Good looks.
Silver or gold?
Gold.
Netflix or Amazon?
Netflix.
Romantic films or action drama?
Romantic films.
Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram.
Honesty or common sense?
Common sense.
All right, after this fantastic rapid fire with Amrita Rao, we come to this end of this interview. Lovely talking to you, as always. It's wonderful that you're having all your thoughts so sorted in your mind, and would love to see much, much more of you in movies and the digital medium, which is really happening right now, and television, whatever you want. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Pleasure being with Faridoon. He's always loved by a lot of people, and this is an aspirational medium. So I'm so happy to be on this couch with Faridoon.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. That's all we have from Bollywood Hungama. Keep on watching.
Hey, this is me, Amrita Rao, and you're watching Bollywood Hungama. Do subscribe and hit the bell icon.